The rain hammered against the terminal windows as Luna Blackwood sprinted through Portland International Airport. Her worn sneakers squeaking against the polished floor. Her phone buzzed with another text from her sister Chloe. Flight delayed. Again, I thought you'd be here by now for my graduation. Luna's heart sank as she checked the departure board. Her flight to Chicago had been delayed 3 times due to the severe thunderstorm, and now showed a frustrating gate change. See agent message. She clutched her boarding pass tighter, the paper now damp from her sweaty palm. Excuse me, she called to a uniformed airline employee, but the woman hurried past without acknowledging her. The terminal was chaos, delayed passengers crowding. Every gate, children crying, the constant echo of departure announcements, following the signs to what she hoped was her new gate. Luna found herself in a quieter section of the airport. Through the floor-to-ceiling windows, she could see a sleek private jet on the tarmac, its engines already running. A flight attendant in an impeccable uniform was checking her watch near the boarding door. "Is this the Chicago flight?" Luna asked. Breathlessly approaching the woman, the attendant looked up, slightly confused. "Well, we are going to Chicago, but thank goodness," Luna interrupted, fishing out her boarding pass. "I've been running around this airport for 2 hours. The gate kept changing." Before the attendant could examine the pass properly, a gust of wind from the opening door scattered some papers across the floor. As they both bent to collect them, Luna heard a smooth voice from behind her. "Is there a problem here?" Luna turned to see a man in his early 30s, tall and lean, wearing an expensive-looking dark coat over jeans and a simple gray sweater. His dark hair was slightly tousled from the wind, and his green eyes held a mixture of curiosity and amusement. As he took in the scene, "No problem at all, sir," the flight attendant said quickly, shooting him a meaningful look that Luna missed entirely. "We're ready for departure." The man studied Luna for a moment, taking in her paint-stained jeans, her university sweatshirt, and the determined set of her jaw. There was something refreshing about her complete lack of recognition. The way she looked at him as just another passenger rather than who he actually was. "Gabriel," he said, extending his hand to Luna. "Luna," she replied, shaking it briefly before turning back to the attendant. "Sorry about the confusion. This storm has everything mixed up." Gabriel found himself intrigued. When was the last time someone had looked at him without dollar signs in their eyes or recognition dawning on their face? "After you," he said, gesturing toward the plane's entrance. As Luna stepped aboard, she couldn't help but gasp. This wasn't like any commercial aircraft she'd ever seen. Cream leather seats that looked more like armchairs, polished wood accents, and actual crystal glasses on a side table. "Wow," she breathed. "First class is really something else." Gabriel settled into the seat across from her, watching with genuine amusement as she tried to figure out the seat controls. "Flying somewhere special?" he asked. "My sister's college graduation," Luna said, finally managing to recline slightly. "She's the first in our family to graduate from university. I promised I'd be there, but this storm." She gestured helplessly toward the windows where rain continued to streak across the glass. "That's wonderful. What did she study?" "Pre-med," Luna said, her face lighting up with pride. "She wants to be a doctor. She's brilliant, much smarter than I am." "I'm just a nurse." "Just a nurse?" Gabriel raised an eyebrow. "That seems like it would be incredibly important work." Luna shrugged, looking slightly embarrassed. "It pays the bills. Well, most of them anyway." She glanced around the luxurious cabin again. "I have to admit I've never flown first class before. This must have cost a fortune." Gabriel made a non-committal sound, not trusting himself to speak. The plane began to taxi, and he found himself studying this woman who had accidentally stumbled into his world. She had shoulder-length auburn hair that she kept tucking behind her ear when she was nervous, and freckles across her nose that suggested she spent time outdoors despite working in a hospital. "What do you do?" Luna asked as they lifted off into the stormy sky. "I work in technology," Gabriel said carefully. It wasn't exactly a lie. Software development, mostly. "That sounds interesting." "I can barely figure out the computer system at work half the time." They talked icily as the plane climbed above the storm clouds. Luna told him about her work in pediatric nursing, how she'd gotten into it after her parents died in a car accident when she was 24. Leaving her to care for 18-year-old Chloe, Gabriel found himself sharing more than he had with anyone in months. Carefully edited stories about his work, his travels, his sense of feeling disconnected from everything. "I'm sorry," Luna said suddenly. "About an hour into the flight, I've been talking your ear off. I don't usually. I don't fly much, and I guess I'm nervous." "Don't apologize," Gabriel said sincerely. "It's been the best conversation I've had in a long time." Their eyes met and held for a moment, something electric passing between them. Luna felt her cheeks warm and looked away, focusing on the clouds outside her window. The captain's voice crackled over the intercom. "Folks, we're going to need to make an unscheduled landing in Chicago due to severe weather conditions at our final destination. We'll be putting down at O'Hare and arranging hotel accommodations for the night." Luna's face fell. "Chloe's graduation is tomorrow morning. If I'm stuck here overnight, ... "Hey," Gabriel said gently, leaning forward. "We'll figure something out. Maybe the weather will clear." As they disembarked at O'Hare, Gabriel stayed close to Luna, who seemed overwhelmed by the crowds and confusion. He smoothly handled the logistics that she didn't even realize were being handled, ensuring they were both booked at the same upscale hotel, arranging transportation, making sure her luggage was delivered to her room. "This is incredible," Luna said, as they stood in the marble lobby of the Fairmont Chicago, looking around at the crystal chandeliers and elegant decor. The airline really went all out with the accommodations. Gabriel, who had paid for both their suites without her knowledge, simply smiled. "Why don't you get settled, and we can meet for dinner?" "My treat. It's the least I can do, since we're both stuck here." Luna hesitated. "I shouldn't. I don't really know you, and one dinner," Gabriel said. "Between fellow stranded passengers. Besides, I'd hate to eat alone in a strange city." Something in his tone, a note of genuine loneliness that he hadn't meant to let slip, made Luna nod. "Okay, one dinner, Ash." As she disappeared into the elevator, Gabriel pulled out his phone and made a quick call to his assistant. "Cancel tomorrow's board meeting," he said quietly. "Something's come up." For the first time in months, Gabriel Sterling, billionaire CEO of Sterling Innovations, was exactly where he wanted to be, about to have dinner with a woman who saw him as just Gabriel, software developer with kind eyes and a warm smile. The storm outside showed no signs of stopping, but Gabriel found himself hoping it would last just a little bit longer. 2 weeks had passed since that stormy night in Chicago, but Luna couldn't stop thinking about Gabriel. Their dinner had stretched into hours of conversation, followed by a walk through the hotel's quiet corridors when neither wanted the evening to end. When her rescheduled flight finally departed the next morning, they'd exchanged numbers, but she hadn't heard from him since. She was restocking supplies in the pediatric ward when her phone buzzed with an unknown number. "Congratulations, Ms. Blackwood. You've won our grand prize drawing, a weekend getaway to Paris, France. All expenses paid, departing this Friday." Luna nearly dropped the IV bag she was carrying. "I'm sorry, what? I didn't enter any contest." "Our records show you were automatically entered when you flew with Prestige Airlines 2 weeks ago." Can we confirm your availability?" Luna's mind raced. She rarely took vacation days, always saving them in case Chloe needed something, but Paris? She'd dreamed of visiting since high school French class, but never imagined she could afford. Yes, she heard herself saying. "Yes, I can make it work." 3 days later, Luna found herself walking through the elegant lobby of Hotel La Bristol, her modest suitcase looking wildly out of place among the designer luggage and impeccably dressed guests. The concierge, speaking perfect English with a charming accent, handed her a key card with a smile. "Mademoiselle Blackwood, welcome to Paris. Your suite is on the 7th floor, with a lovely view of the Faubourg Saint-Honore." The suite was breathtaking, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the Parisian street below. Antique furniture, mixed with modern amenities, and a bathroom larger than her entire apartment back home. Luna set down her suitcase and walked to the window, watching the evening light paint the city in golden hues. A soft knock at the door interrupted her reverie. "Room service, perhaps?" She opened it to find Gabriel standing in the hallway, holding a bouquet of white roses and wearing that same warm smile that had haunted her thoughts for 2 weeks. "Gabriel," she gasped, her heart suddenly racing. "What are you doing here?" "Business meeting got moved to Paris," he said, though something in his eyes suggested there was more to the story. "Imagine my surprise when I saw you in the lobby. What are the odds?" Luna stared at him, dozens of questions tumbling through her mind, but all that came out was, "You look ... different." He was wearing a perfectly tailored dark suit instead of his casual travel clothes. And there was something more polished about his appearance that she couldn't quite place. "Hotel dress code," Gabriel said easily. "These places can be pretty formal. You look beautiful, by the way." Luna glanced down at her simple sundress, one of only 3 nice outfits she owned, and felt suddenly self-conscious. "I can't believe you're here. This is so crazy. Good crazy or bad crazy?" Gabriel asked, and she could hear genuine uncertainty in his voice. "Good," Luna said without hesitation. "Definitely good crazy." They spent the evening walking along the Seine, stopping at a small cafe where Gabriel ordered for them both in fluent French. Luna was impressed, but not entirely surprised he'd mentioned traveling for work, after all. "So what kind of software development keeps you traveling to Paris?" she asked over wine and cheese. Gabriel hesitated for just a moment. "International consulting. It's very technical, probably boring for most people." "Try me," Luna challenged with a smile. But Gabriel skillfully deflected, asking instead about her work, her sister, her life in Portland. Luna found herself opening up even more than she had on the plane, telling him about the families she worked with, the children she'd grown attached to, the heartbreak of losing young patients. "You care so much," Gabriel observed, watching her face as she talked. "It must be exhausting." "Sometimes," Luna admitted, "but it's worth it. Those kids deserve someone who fights for them, you know. Someone who sees them as more than just another case." Gabriel nodded, something shifting in his expression. "I haven't met many people who see their work as a calling rather than just a job." They walked back to the hotel as the city lights began to twinkle around them. In the elevator, Gabriel turned to her. "Would you have dinner with me tomorrow? There's this place I know, small, family-owned, not touristy at all." "I'd love that," Luna said, then bit her lip. "But Gabriel, I should tell you I can't really afford expensive restaurants. This trip is already way beyond my usual budget, even if it was free." Gabriel's jaw tightened almost imperceptibly. "Don't worry about that, please. Let me take care of dinner." Something in his tone made Luna look at him more closely, but the elevator doors opened at her floor before she could ask any questions. The next day passed like a dream. Gabriel picked her up in the morning, and they explored Montmartre, climbing the steps to Sacre, Sejour, and wandering through the artist's quarter. He seemed to know the city well, guiding her away from tourist traps to hidden gems that locals frequented. At lunch, Luna tried to pay for her meal, but Gabriel had somehow already settled the bill. "You're too fast," she protested. "Old habit," he said with a shrug that didn't quite meet his eyes. That evening, as they were getting ready for dinner, Luna's phone rang. Chloe's name flashed on the screen, and Luna's stomach dropped at the sound of her sister's voice, tearful and scared. "Luna, I'm at the hospital. I collapsed during my shift at the research lab, and they're saying I need emergency surgery. Something with my appendix, but there are complications." "And slow down," Luna said, her nurse training kicking in even as panic flooded her system. "What hospital? What did the doctor say exactly?" As Chloe explained, Luna's world tilted. The surgery was complex, requiring specialists. The insurance wouldn't cover everything. They were looking at over $50,000 in medical bills. "I can't afford this," Luna whispered after hanging up, sinking onto the hotel bed. "I have maybe $3,000 in savings. I can tune ... Gabriel, who had been waiting in the hallway, knocked softly and entered when she called out. One look at her tear-streaked face, and he was beside her immediately. "What happened?" Luna explained. Through her tears, and Gabriel's expression grew more serious with each word. "I have to go home," she said. "I have to figure out how to help." "Her, Luna," Gabriel said carefully. "What if I could help?" I have some connections. Maybe I could know, Luna said firmly, wiping her eyes. Absolutely not. I can't take money from someone I barely know. Gabriel flinched at her words. You know me? He said quietly. Do I? Luna asked, and something in her tone made Gabriel look up sharply. Because I've been thinking, Gabriel. Your clothes, the way you carry yourself, how you seem to know expensive restaurants in Paris, how you always somehow pay for everything before I can even try. She walked to the window, then turned back to face him. I turned on the news this morning while I was getting ready. There was a business segment about some tech conference happening here this week. Luna's voice grew quieter, showed a picture of the keynote speaker. Gabriel Sterling, CEO of Sterling Innovations, Billionaire. He looked remarkably like you. The silence stretched between them, heavy with unspoken truths. Gabriel's shoulders sagged slightly, the careful facade he'd maintained finally cracking. Luna, he began, but she held up a hand. Is that your name? Gabriel Sterling? Yes, he said simply. And you're worth, what, billions of dollars? Gabriel nodded, unable to meet her eyes. Luna laughed, but there was no humor in it. A billionaire. Jesus, Gabriel. I told you about my student loans, about how I can barely afford groceries some. Weeks about how I've never even been able to take a real vacation. And you just ... what? Found it amusing? No, Gabriel said urgently, stepping toward her. It wasn't like that at all. Luna, please, let me explain. Explain what? Luna's voice rose. How you've been playing some kind of game. How you probably arranged this whole Paris trip just to see what the poor little nurse would do. The accuracy of her guess he had arranged the contest, though not for the reasons she thought, made Gabriel's face pale. Luna, that's not. But his hesitation was answer enough. Luna stared at him with growing hurt and anger. You did? Oh my God, you actually did arrange this. What was this? Some kind of social experiment? See how the other half lives. I arranged it because I couldn't stop thinking about you, Gabriel said desperately. Because that night in Chicago was the first time in months I felt like myself again, and I wanted to see you. I know it was wrong to deceive you, but you did it anyway, Luna finished. For 2 weeks, even tonight when I was crying. About my sister. You offered to help with your connections instead of just being honest about who you are. Gabriel ran his hands through his hair, looking more vulnerable than Luna had ever seen him. I was going to tell you. I swear I was. Do you know what it's like to never know if someone likes you for yourself or for what you can give them? That night on the plane, you looked at me like I was just a person. It's not a bank account or a stepping stone, just ... me. The fluorescent lights of Portland General Hospital had never felt harsher than they did during the week following. Luna's return from Paris, she'd thrown herself into work with desperate intensity, picking up extra shifts to distract herself from both her financial worries and the hollow ache in her chest every time she thought about Gabriel. Chloe's surgery had been successful, but the bills were mounting. Luna had started the process of applying for a second mortgage on the small house their parents had left them, though she wasn't sure it would be approved. She'd also quietly reached out to the hospital's financial aid office, swallowing her pride to ask for help. You look terrible, announced Nurse Janet Rodriguez, Luna's closest colleague, as she found Luna staring blankly at a computer screen during her lunch break. Thanks. That's exactly what every woman wants to hear, Luna replied, rubbing her tired eyes. I'm serious. You've been working doubles all week, you're barely eating, and you jump every time your phone buzzes. Janet sat down beside her. Want to talk about what happened in Paris? Luna had given Janet only the bare outline that she'd met someone. It had gotten complicated, and it was over. There's nothing to talk about. It was just a mistake. A mistake that left you looking like someone ran over your puppy. Before Luna could respond, her phone did buzz with a text from an unknown number. Anonymous donation received for Chloe Blackwood's medical expenses. All bills have been covered in full. Please contact billing department for details. Luna stared at the message, her heart pounding. She knew exactly who had made that donation, and the thought filled her with a mixture of gratitude and frustration that made her want to scream. Good news? Janet asked, noting Luna's expression. And maybe I need to make a call. Luna stepped into an empty supply closet and dialed the number Gabriel had left on his business card. He answered on the first. Ring, Luna? His voice was hopeful and cautious. You paid for Chloe's surgery, she said without preamble. Yes. I told you I didn't want your charity. Gabriel was quiet for a moment. It's not charity. It's what people do when they care about each other. They help. People in equal relationships help each other, Luna shot back. This is you throwing money at a problem because you can. Would you rather I let your sister suffer because of your pride? The question hit harder than Luna had expected. She leaned against the supply shelves, suddenly exhausted. That's not fair. Neither is punishing me for having money when all. I want us to help the people I care about. It's not about the money, Gabriel. It's about the lying. It's about you deciding what I could and couldn't handle instead of trusting me with the truth. You're right, Gabriel said quietly, and I'm sorry. More sorry than I know how to express. Luna felt tears prick her eyes at the genuine regret in his voice. I have to go. I'm at work. Luna, wait. But she hung up, staring at the phone in her trembling hand. 2 days later, Luna was reading to 7-year-old Marcus Chen, a patient recovering from heart surgery, when Janet appeared in the doorway with a strange expression. Luna, there's someone here who wants to volunteer in the children's ward. He specifically asked for you to show him around. Janet, if this is who I think it is, tall, dark hair, green eyes, looks like he stepped off the cover of a magazine. Yeah, that's him, Luna groaned. I can't deal with this right now. Well, you're going to have to, because he's already been cleared by administration and he's wearing scrubs. Sure enough, when Luna reluctantly made her way to the nurse's station, she found Gabriel in hospital scrubs that somehow still managed to look good on him. Talking quietly with Dr. Patricia Williams, the ward's head physician. Ah, Luna, Dr. Williams said with a smile. Perfect timing. This is Gabriel Sterling. He's interested in volunteering with our young patients, and I thought you could show him the ropes. Gabriel met her eyes with an expression that was equal parts apologetic and determined. Hello, Luna. What are you doing here? She asked quietly, acutely aware that they had an audience. Learning, Gabriel replied simply. If you'll teach me. Dr. Williams looked between them curiously but didn't comment. I'll leave you two too. Yet Gabriel, thank you again for your generous donation to our new pediatric wing. After the doctor left, Luna stared at Gabriel. Another donation. The hospital needs it. The kids need it. Gabriel's voice was steady. And I need to understand your world if I'm going to be part of it. Who says you're going to be part of it? Gabriel's carefully maintained composure cracked slightly. I'm hoping you will, eventually. When you're ready to forgive me for being an idiot? Despite everything, Luna felt a small smile tug at her lips. You were definitely an idiot. The biggest, Gabriel agreed solemnly. Luna sighed, looking around. The familiar ward, the children's drawings taped to walls, the soft beeping of monitors, the controlled chaos that was her daily life. Fine, but you follow my lead, and you don't get any special treatment because you're rich. Understood. What followed was both the longest and shortest day of Luna's career. Watching Billionaire CEO Gabriel Sterling patiently help 9-year-old Lily with her puzzle, or listen intently as 12-year-old Kevin explained his comic book collection, was surreal. But what struck her most was how genuine he seemed. This wasn't performative charity or a publicity stunt. He was fully present with each child, asking real questions and showing real interest during their lunch break. They sat in the small staff cafeteria, eating vending machine sandwiches. You're good with them, Luna admitted reluctantly. Gabriel looked up from his sandwich, probably the first non-gourmet meal he'd eaten in years, Luna realized. They're incredible. How do you do it? See them suffer like that every day? Because we're being here, fighting with them, it matters. Some battles we lose, but the ones we win. Luna shrugged. It makes all the pain worth it. Gabriel nodded slowly. I've spent the last 2 years since my business partner died feeling like nothing I did mattered. Building software, making money, it all felt pointless. He met her eyes. Being here today, seeing what you do, how much you care, it's the first time in a long time that I've felt like I could be part of something meaningful. Gabriel, Luna started, but he held up a hand. I know I have no right to ask this, but could you give me a chance? Not as Gabriel Sterling, billionaire, but as Gabriel who wants to learn how to help, wants to figure out how to fit into your world instead of asking you to fit into his. Luna studied his face, seeing something there she hadn't noticed before, a vulnerability that went deeper than just romantic disappointment. You'd really do that? Give up your lifestyle? Not give? It up, Gabriel said carefully, but use it differently. I've been thinking about what you said in Paris, about those kids deserving someone who fights for them. What if I could fight for them too? What if we could fight for them together? What are you talking about? Gabriel pulled out his phone and showed her a document. I've been working with lawyers to set up a foundation. It's focused on pediatric care, medical research, family support services. I want you to run it.
Right.
Gabriel, this is millions of dollars. It's a start, he said simply. You understand what these families need in a way I never could. You know which programs actually help and which ones are just feel-good nonsense? I have the resources. But you have the knowledge and the heart. Luna felt tears welling up despite herself. You don't have to do this to win me back. I'm not doing it to win you back, Gabriel said quietly. I'm doing it because it's right, because you've shown me what I want my life to look like. Whether you forgive me or not, whether we have a future together or not, this foundation is happening. They sat in silence for a moment, the weight of his words settling between them. I was so angry, Luna finally whispered. Not just because you lied, but because I felt stupid for believing in the fairy tale. It wasn't a fairy tale, Gabriel said, earnestly. My feelings for you, everything we talked about, everything we shared, that was all real. The only thing I lied about was my bank account. Luna laughed despite herself, wiping at her eyes. Your bank account is kind of a big thing to lie about, I know, and I'm sorry. I was scared that if you knew, you'd see me differently. That you'd want me for what I could give you instead of who I am. And I was scared that if you knew how broke I was, you'd think I was only interested in what you could give me, Luna admitted. We're quite a pair. Gabriel reached across the table and gently took her hand. Luna, I need you to know I fell for the woman who yelled at flight attendants and worried about her sister and lit up when she talked about her patients.
Your bank account had nothing to do with it.
Luna looked down at their joined hands, his, warm and slightly calloused from the morning's work, hers small and tired from years of caring for others. This is terrifying, she said softly. I know, but maybe we could be terrified together. Luna met his eyes, seeing in them the same hope and fear that she felt. The foundation. You're serious about that? Dead serious? I've already started. The paperwork. Dr. Williams has agreed to serve on the advisory board, and you'd really want me to run it? Gabriel smiled, the first truly relaxed smile she'd seen from him since Paris. Luna, there's no one I'd trust more with something this important. Luna felt the last of her walls crumbling. This man had walked away from his billionaire lifestyle to spend a day in hospital scrubs, had committed millions to a cause that mattered to her, and was looking at her like she was the most precious thing in his world. Okay, she said quietly. Okay to the foundation, or okay to us? Luna stood up, still holding his hand, and leaned down to kiss him softly. Okay to all of it, to being terrified together, to building something meaningful, to seeing if a nurse from Portland and a tech billionaire can actually make this work. Gabriel stood as well, cupping her face gently in his hands. I love you, Luna. I should have said that in Paris. I love you too, she whispered back. Even when you're being an idiotic billionaire, especially when I'm being an idiotic billionaire. Luna laughed, feeling lighter than she had in weeks. We'll see. As they walked back to the children's ward hand in hand, Luna couldn't help but think that maybe fairy tales weren't about perfect beginnings. Maybe they were about to imperfect people choosing to build something beautiful together. One day at a time. 6 months later, the Sterling Blackwood Foundation opened its doors in a building halfway between Luna's hospital and Gabriel's corporate offices. On the wall of the main conference room hung a photo from their first day volunteering together, surrounded by drawings from the children they'd helped. It wasn't the fairy tale Luna had once imagined, but it was better. It was real, built on honesty, compromise, a shared commitment to making the world a little bit better for the people who needed it most. And sometimes, late at night when they were both working late at the foundation, Gabriel would catch Luna's eye across the conference room and smile, remembering the stormy night when she'd accidentally walked into his life and changed everything.